Now, what Paul just watched is the trailer for the new film from our goddess and empress Jennifer Lawrence. And the film is about I'm assuming,
No hard feelings.
It's called No Hard Feelings, about a woman in her 30s who is an Uber driver who loses her vehicle and signs up to date a loser 19-year-old. Sorry, I almost said 9-year-old. 19-year-old. Because he has no life and his parents basically offer her a vehicle as payment to do so. Now, I would have been all on board with a raunchy comedy like this any day of the week. Wouldn't have had a problem with this. But now I will say, in this day and age, it's a little odd, because if you were to reverse these roles, people would lose their fucking minds just from the shit that's in this trailer. So Paul, you just watched this trailer. Let's hear your response to this trailer before we get too deep into it.
You know what? It's intriguing. So she's hired to deflower this boy.
Yes,
that's what it looks like, and
boy is the proper term because he's 19 years old. Yes,
and the funny thing is, this is not an unusual occurrence within certain well-heeled areas of society where boys have been sent to locations, especially New York, where high-priced call girls will take care of a newly bar mitzvahed young man. That does happen, and I do know people for whom it has happened too. Very interesting.
But she's not a prostitute. That's
no.
Well, she's technically not.
Okay, yeah. So I'm intrigued by the raunchiness of it. I give Lawrence credit for going for it. The only thing that bothers me is the motivation is money. That this is a terrible trope. That
it's not necessarily anything we haven't seen a million times.
Correct.
Either. That's the thing, Paul. Yeah.
So she's so down on her luck that she's now got to it. Almost,
she's at risk of losing the house she inherited from her mom and promised that she wouldn't.
Blah blah blah.
Blah, blah. Yeah, that's the angle they're trying to go for.
Yes, losing. The bad guy from the other camp is going to come and buy out your trailer camp if you don't find enough money to help all the other people in the trailer. This is
camp. Basically every Adam Sandler movie. Okay, let's be real.
It actually sounds kind of like
Happy Gilmore, but without.
Yeah, I know. I'm being sarcastic.
So anyway,
it's a typical comedy. Yes,
we could have found a way around the. I don't like outside motivations. I like movies where the main character is self-motivated. So, but that's just a personal bugaboo of mine. So now, she's going to find that he's not so bad, and he's going to find out that she's not so bad, and they're going to become partners in some kind of final adventure as they beat up the bad guy together. That's my prediction.
She's gonna be like, you're a good guy, and you're gonna meet someone that's gonna be age appropriate, that'll take you where you need to go, and then she has to grow up as a result of that as well. That's the normal tropes going in there. She's gonna lose the house, but she's gonna be happy because she's got a place of her own that she can call home.
But they open with nice wiener. This is very soft.
That's the thing I hate about most trailers these days, is that they tease you a trailer line before the trailer, and then they use the trailer line in the trailer again, like later. It's like, they really are buying into the fact that the majority of people have zero attention span, I guess.
You know what? It would have been, okay, I'm now predicting the movie. Why couldn't she have been like an Uber driver without much of a life? And she kind of does things, and someone approaches her and says, "Hey, you know what? If you'll deflower my kid, yeah, sure, fine, I'm okay with that."
But then she ends up learning something about herself as a result.
Yeah, like why wouldn't she have been someone who goes, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it. Sounds like fun."
Because an executive producer that was hearing this pitch says, we need something more relatable. People in the country are losing their homes, so that's going to be our in to get this. People want to see this movie.
See, but if it was a French movie, it would have been the way I just described it.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. And again, I mean, it's also because, again, they're leaning into the idea that the majority of people are stupid and they will find themselves in these situations more regularly. That's the relatability. I think it's even more severe than what script described. And I have to tell you, I used to like these kinds of films. I really enjoyed the, American Pie films and, other films that had this in it. And this thing, I'm like going, if you flip the roles, as Tom suggested, the hypocrisy here is ridiculous. And
not if I was the one playing the Jennifer Lawrence role.
Oh no, not at all. That wouldn't be creepy at all, Paul. No, and the other side of it is, why does he have to be 19? Right? Like, because here's the thing: at 19, the kid hasn't even gone to college yet. He's going to experience life.
And 19, he should be in college.
Exactly. It would be fun. My point is, though, it would be funnier if he was like 27 and still a virgin.
Correct.
30 and still a virgin. That would have made and that's the thing, is you also set up the potential that she could actually fall in love with this dude. There is no logical way at the end of this movie these two are winding up together, because that's where they're messing up that whole concept.
Is missing out on a massive trend. 1/3 of boys between puberty and 30 have not had sex and are not dating.
That's
for
true.
Multiple reasons.
It's a growing trend. Yes.
This is a trend. So if someone came to me, I'm building a movie based on this trend and concept, and here's the data around it, that suddenly makes it way more interesting.
Well, and that's the thing, Paul, is it feeds into that trend.
27,
but this movie is basically an ugly duckling movie, right? But they're never going to be able to have the ending, the satisfying ugly duckling ending you're supposed to have, right? Like She's All That and all these other hundreds of movies we've had like this before. There is no way that she is going to wind up in a romantic relationship with that 19-year-old kid.
And that's not the point, because
it's not, but it should be.
I see Paul's point completely here, because we have seen parts of this before, but again, this is something new. You know what this is? Because this guy, maybe he's like this quiet genius or something, we don't know. But from the trailer, he looks like a shut-in. He looks like a Western version of a Japanese, what they call again, hikimori or something like that. Someone that just lives in his own world with his own little things and is perfectly content doing that for the indefinite future, and is going to still be in that place the next 20, 30 years, regardless of whether he goes to college or not.
Well,
this movie is the parents trying to break out of that pattern any way possible. It's not about these aren't like parents just like thinking, oh, my son is going to go to college, it's going to be fine there anyway. No. They are worried that nothing's going to change. He has to learn to live a little bit to take advantage of college. This is something new, and it ties in with exactly what Chato was saying, that people aren't dating the same way that they were, certainly in the States. I'm not going to speak for Norway because it's not the same thing here, but from what I'm reading, in America, dating has taken an absolute nosedive.
Yes.
People aren't having
Paul
sex
is
apart
right.
from and that makes this movie relevant in a whole new kind of way.
You avoided it. Here's a funny scene. Parents go to this woman who doesn't care about life. We get rid of all this house bullshit. As I said, do it the French way. They go, we need you to deflower our son. Yeah, sure. But can I do it in between Uber rides? Because I got to deliver this pizza. Sure, fine. Okay. And she arrives. She thinks he's 19 years old. He's 27. And he goes, I thought I was going to be like your teen son. This is a fucking adult. What?
That's what I was getting at. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying it much funnier and much more clearly than you.
Not only that, Tom, you are really hung up on the idea that these two have to be together at the end. It's not
they don't.
No, they don't. But my point was,
let me finish, Tom. We've let you finish before. The point should be is that maybe there is a girl that this guy likes that is of his own age, and he is not able to do it. And by way of through Lawrence's character, he facilitates the confidence to actually ask her out and actually start a relationship. That is more in line.
Okay, so it's Cyrano, yeah.
Okay, well, look,
they didn't tell us that in the trailer, which I don't expect them to. But you're probably right there, script, and I agree with you. But that's the thing is, like, normally in these stories, the ugly duckling / like she's all that type stories, that's what I was talking about. You're possibly right, though. I didn't even think of that angle. So I will
Something
concede
wild.
that.
Something wild. I mean, yeah, here's the other thing too, and Hollywood has been doing this for years. When the 40-year-old virgin came out, do you know what other studios were trying to do? They were trying to do the antithesis of that with a woman. They couldn't, so they actually ended up making a terrible film. And I had to go see this because one of my friends worked on it. It was called The 18-Year-Old Virgin. And it was just a hot redheaded chick that likes English who wants to lose her virginity. And it was
That
a terrible,
that
terrible
movie
movie.
would be 5 minutes long. That's like I always like. What was that one? Little
They
Darlings
stretched it out
back
for
in the
almost
day.
2 hours.
It was like that movie would never last that long.
But I think that you could play into the idea of the Sigma male trope, the guys that, don't, necessarily enjoy the dating world, et cetera, et cetera.
And there's Failure to Launch and some other ones. I see somebody just mentioned that one in the chat too. That
and then, but to me, this just seems like a really bad Judd Apatow film, and or a reboot of a bad Judd Apatow.
They don't need to turn her into a slut to make this work. It's actually wrong. People can have mature decisions about how they want to deal with sex, which is not allowed in the United States. It's outlawed, I think, in 5 states. So yeah, again, to me, I find this offensive that she's got the guy that she's screwing in, and not telling the guy with the tow truck, and she's just turning favors or tricks for favors. It looks like for things that makes her very unsavory.
Yeah.
It's like strippers with tattoos. It just is not, it just doesn't work.
Tattoos or, cesarean scars. Either way, you're just not interested.
No, excuse me. I'm not putting a buck in that G-string.
Well, and that's maybe the other problem is the actress is unlikable.
She still hasn't got her stitches removed. What the heck?
I think she's fine in this. I mean, this seems like
I like her in this. I can't
wait
never
to see
liked
this.
Jennifer
to be honest.
Lawrence, to be honest with you. I've never saw the appeal. I've never thought she could act. I've never thought she was all that. I thought she was the dumbest choice for just about everything she's been in, to be honest with you.
Except for this. She looks really good for this.
I hate to say it. I'm going to say it. This would have been better for Melissa McCarthy. It would have made more sense and been funnier. I'll be honest. Fuck it. I'll say it.
Apart from the fact that no parent would ever have hired
That's
Melissa
the joke.
McCarthy
That's the point. That's what I was getting at. Is make her unappealing too.
Movie.
She's already unappealing. I don't like her character in this trailer. Everything Paul just said is correct.
Yeah, but that's not her, the actress's fault.
I don't care. I don't like her as an actress to begin with. That doesn't help. That's my point. Is like if you would have picked a funnier actress, I would have even seen like Kate McKinnon or somebody like that in this role, and I don't even like her. So like, I don't know. She didn't stand out to me in any way that made me go, I want to see this, even despite it turned me off. The whole thing turned me off. It was.
I tell you what, I think it would have been great for Tina Fey.
There's another one I would have rather seen. Yeah.
Little.
Even though she's a little bit older.
I would have preferred Helen Mirren.
Helen Mirren would have been amazing. Midnight's Edge's own Helen Mirren. Get it right.
That's right.
I'm here to deflower your son. Where is he?
Leslie Jones would have even been funnier, actually. Yes, because then her abrasiveness would have worked.
You know
right?
what?
Like
she will. Lawrence will open the movie. None of the people.
It will open. It'll do fine.
Yeah, but Tom, then you'd have to have Paul Feig directed, and it would be a completely different movie right away. I agree with Chato here. For the kind of movie that, and we still don't know exactly what this is, because this could be a case of misleading trailer. But if the trailer in any way represents the movie, I don't think that this is any kind of like she's all that thing at all. I think this is a complete inversion of it, that this is something new, truly for modern audiences, and I use that in the most unironic way possible. I simply mean this is something that is made for American youth culture as it is right now in the year 2023. And for the parents who's like boomers and comes from like something like standards and everything, to actually pay for someone to take their son on a ride, they're not going to pay for Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence is the right person for the
No, I
kind
get
of
you.
movie they're making. What you're
Okay.
describing is a different movie. That
Didn't
we're
they
I'll
not
take it
getting
back.
here.
Let me recast it. Margot Robbie then. There you go.
In-
There's somebody who's likable.
I'm too old.
But she also
Same
can't
age
do
almost.
comedy.
Has she really done one yet?
Didn't they say that they were going to pay her
Iconic.
in the Buick?
Yes.
And where's this van that
Buick
she's
Regal,
got?
like an 80s Buick Regal or something. It
So,
was-
so she'll get a new. So she's lost her Uber car.
Yeah.
And the motivation is that if she boinks the sun, that she gets an Uber, some kind of vehicle. That's
To get back to being an Uber.
that.
which is, again, I mean, all the bars here are set very low, Paul.
Again, that's appropriate. I mean, we are right now in the modern day version of the 30s depression, and it's only gonna get worse. And the character that we see right there, who is someone who isn't too well off, ignore the real Jennifer Lawrence, who is one of the filthiest riches in Hollywood. The character in the movie right here is someone who isn't too well off. She depends on Uber to as her livelihood. She suddenly lost her car, and here's an opportunity for her in a couple of months to get her car back. Basically putting her back to where she was, only with a new car.
By
It doesn't
getting
have to
on
be
her
multiple millions or something like that, because that option wasn't on the table for her. It's like, do you want to do this and get back to where you were, or do you want to continue as right now and be significantly worse off? I completely
Kratos
buy
is right here, though.
that synopsis.
This is absolutely true. You cannot do Uber with a car that's older than 10 years.
Yeah, this is the MacGuffin. I'm sorry.
Like
So you know what? I can see in the context of a semi-movie illiterate public that this would work out fine. Script and I can talk to the ends of the earth of heightening the entertainment and literary value of this movie, but I can see all those things working.
Yep.
I can see it working. It's not my preference, but I can see it working.
I can see it working too.
And Jennifer Lawrence playing trailer park trash, I think, is going to be hugely entertaining.
And I thought she was really good as Red Sparrow, which is a tremendously underrated movie. That's kind of like
That's kind of like, yeah, that's kind of like a spy thing, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that should have been like the Black Widow prequel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Of course, Marvel would never have made it, but they should have. That's what the Black Widow standalone movie should have been.